Hey, I'm Weldon Williford with EXP Realty. There's a lot of videos out there that are top 10 reasons to move or not move to Wayne County. And I thought as a realtor, I would give my top 10 reasons of why you would want to move to Wayne County, North Carolina, Goldsboro / Wayne County, North Carolina. And I want to end the video with a little secret that maybe even some other locals might not know. Um, Again, I'm not a videographer. I'm a just a realtor. So I'm going to do this in kind of a conversational style, so that you can use it as a jumping off point. You can do so you can do your own research from things that you may see in this video. You can find a lot, like I said, you can find a lot of things on Google and websites and in other areas. Also, if you see something on here and you'd like, more information, just contact me. I'll be glad to give you some more information if you need anything specific. And you may not agree with everything that I give a reason for, but this is my experience as a Wayne County native and a longtime resident. I'm about as homegrown as they come. I grew up in Fremont, North Carolina, which is in Wayne County. My great grandmother was a Pike, as in Pikeville. She married a Lancaster, as in Lancaster Road. It doesn't get much more native than that. And again, at the end of this video, I'll kind of let you in on a little local secret. It may help you with your future real estate purchase and home search. With that being said, let's get started. Number one reason, and again, these are in no particular order, but number one is the cost of living in Wayne County. Home prices here are relatively cheaper. Rent is a little bit cheaper compared to other areas. Some of the locals here have complained that obviously, rents and home prices have increased from the past, but literally you can just, drive 30 minutes west and prices jump 20, 30, $40,000 over the home prices that are here in Wayne County. So people are driving closer in, or further out to get cheaper homes and commuting to their jobs. Another reason cost of living is lower here is lower taxes. The county commissioners and the city councilmen here, they tend to really focus on how to keep your taxes lower rather than seeing what kind of additional things they can spend money on. That's debatable on whether, your views may be different. I mean, some people think we need to spend more on police or add teacher supplements, but that's a whole other debate for another channel, YouTube channel. But the main thing is like I said, every time that those debates come up, generally the conversation is how do we, keep our tax rates low. So if you're looking for that kind of environment, Wayne County is a good place to live. Also, they generally, the community as a whole for Wayne County has generally voted down any attempts at sales taxes. So even the local community, in addition to property taxes, generally the sales taxes are very stable here as well. Services in this area are relatively cheaper. If you've lived in more metropolitan areas, I mean, things like getting your car worked on, home repairs, home appliance repairs, general handyman, landscaping, etc. Those sorts of things, generally, just as a whole, it adds up to just a lot of cost savings when you're looking at having to utilize those services. Utilities here are generally a little cheaper as well. I've lived in briefly in some other cities. The power and water and sewer bills here are fairly reasonable. Your average water bill in the county, it runs $20 to $40 a month. And then even in the city, where you have trash and sewer included, generally you're looking 60 to 80 bucks compared to some other metropolitan areas where it can be considerably higher. And we're far enough away from the coast that generally homeowners insurance in this area is fairly reasonable. We do get hurricanes here, but we're far enough inland that we're, our homeowners insurance rates are not jacked up quite as high as if you were to live near the beach. Like I said, we're probably an hour and a half away from the coast, so we don't have those rates, big rate hikes here. But I will, as with one caveat, is Wayne County does have quite a few flood areas and flood zones. And if a part of your property or your home is in a flood zone, I have seen flood insurance rates as high as the mortgage in some cases. So it's very important, to have a realtor who can find that information for you before you make that purchase. Make sure that you don't get any surprises, once you go under contract, which could cost you some money. Number two, the reason, for moving to Wayne County is basically a crossroads. It always has been. We had crisscrossing railroads in this area since, almost the birth of the county. So you can have, even though there may not be things right in Wayne County, if there's something, just one particular thing you want to do, you can generally have anything you want within an hour to 1.5 hours drive of this county. You can do things such as you could take a day trip to Wilmington, North Carolina, take a walk along the historic riverfront. You can take a day trip to the Crystal Coast for the beach, to go boating, eat some fresh seafood. And then if you want to go shopping, visit museums, attend top music concerts, see pro sports teams like the Carolina Hurricanes, your 1 hour drive, again, from the Raleigh area. Another thing, and it's in the winery industry has grown. Again, there's wineries nearby. You've got, there are local wineries, but then you've got Duplin Winery, which is probably the largest muscadine winery, I would assume now, probably in the world. Within, again, nice day trip where you could go and enjoy and sample some Duplin County wines, or Duplin Winery wines. And because we're a crossroads, there's work availability. Not only are there jobs in Wayne County, but we're in the middle of other metro centers like Wilson, Kinston, Raleigh, Greenville, which includes this biotech crescent of North Carolina, as it's described as, which is basically a crescent-shaped area that goes from RTP all the way through Wilson to Greenville. So there are lots of great paying biotech jobs available that are within a convenient driving distance. I also believe there's going to be possible future rail service to RDU to Research Triangle in the future from downtown Goldsboro. They have renovated a train station, and it may be 10 years, it might be 20 years down the road, but I do think if you're familiar with Washington, D.C. and the surrounding suburbs, that are generally an hour away, they're very train-based suburbs. People get on the train with their laptops and they work, commuting into work. And so, I think at a certain point, we are going to see that with Wayne County. I think it just has to happen as the growth from the Raleigh, Durham, Chapel Hill area comes this way and continues its march as it is happening now. And this leads me into number 3, which is education. Wayne County has great schools. We've got private schools, we've got charter schools, we've got great public schools, and then we have our community college system at Wayne Community, which has great automotive programs, aerospace programs. Since we're near Seymour Johnson Air Force Base, they've got great aerospace program. You've got they do CNC machining. They've got agricultural programs. Just lots of things that are available and very affordable. And in some cases, depending on your financial situation, might even be free. But that's something each individual would have to look into. We also have a private college at Mount Olive. Mount Olive College, I know a lot of people who've gotten business degrees from Mount Olive College. I think they have some teaching programs and some other great programs as well. So generally, you can find something here, depending, unless it's just a certain specialty that you may need to attend another college. And I also forgot to mention one, North Carolina Wesleyan also has some campuses here in Wayne County as well, that they have a different variety of classes. So there's generally something for everyone. So education, Wayne County does have a great education system. Number 4, and this is something, is medical services. And this is something I've actually had several veteran clients that I've worked with, and their number one reason for moving back to Wayne County, they may have used to serve at Seymour Johnson, have lived here for a while, but really their number one reason for moving back to Wayne County was access to medical care. Wayne County has a great medical park, and that will take the TRICARE, I believe it's the TRICARE health plan that the military community has, as well as Greenville, North Carolina, which is again less than an hour drive away, with again many more specialists that do also accept the TRICARE plan. So that's that's a big reason that a lot of people do move to Wayne County. And obviously it's even a benefit for non-military to have access to just a whole variety of general practitioners and specialists in this area. And number 5 is food. Wayne County has just about every variety of food available. We've got great private Thai restaurants, Chinese, Latin American. We've got top-rated steakhouses like Carl and Shell's, which were voted number 1 in the state. We've got many flavors of Mexican. There's Japanese. There's Asian fusion. We've got franchise restaurants if you're looking at something more familiar. Something like Olive Garden, Longhorn, Texas Steakhouse, Chipotle, Chick-fil-A, Bojangles, of course. Those are all available here, and it seems to be more coming all the time. You've got the famous Nahunta Pork Center, which is in Nahunta in Wayne County, where you can get anything pork related, and you can buy it in bulk. Great prices. People will drive in from everywhere just to buy their pork from the Nahunta Pork Center. And then, another thing people has been a big concern for folks is food security. I've seen a lot of videos, a lot of people talking about food security. Well, in Wayne County, we're still a very rural county, and there's lots of farmers here. You can get direct farm access either in Wayne County or just right around Wayne County to purchase beef, chicken, eggs, collards, strawberries, blueberries, grapes, etc. And you can find a farmer and easily buy direct from the farm here if that's something that you're into. So I wouldn't worry so much about having a food crisis if you live in Wayne County. The farmers here, if that situation were to arise, the farmers here will step up. I have no doubts. Number 6, the reason to move to Wayne County is for golf. Our area is, again, Eastern North Carolina in general is famous for golf with Pinehurst, which is a little bit further drive than possibly comfortable for a day trip, but we are near there. But there are 4 great golf courses in Wayne County. We've got a variety from municipals to semi-private to private country clubs. Within driving distance to probably 8 to 10 more. I could do research and probably find even more than that that are within a reasonable drive time to get a tee time at the same day. And speaking of Walnut Creek Country Club, really I have been a member there, so I'm very familiar with the club. And really, it's one of the best kept secrets in Eastern North Carolina. For basically around $300 a month, which includes pool, dining, golf, tennis, all those sorts of, and plus access to the lake there for boating and fishing. It's really one of the best kept secrets. The quality of that course, it's just always meticulously maintained. The greens are always in just pristine condition. If you're looking a private club and you want to, like I said, you want to kind of be in a more rural area, Walnut Creek Country Club is really hard to beat for the price. I mean, sure, you can find better, but from what I've seen, better can cost $700, $800 to $1,500 a month. So for $300, what you get is just an incredible value. And then nearly all the golf courses here are fairly affordable compared to other areas I've played in. Generally you can get around at some of our smaller courses, $35, 20, Goldsboro Municipal, I think is, recently I think it's like $29. And then even some of the more, there's a championship style course, Cutter's Creek. And I think they have some days where, you can get in on a championship style course, $65, $75 for a round, which sounds like a lot of money, but if you go to other areas, you can easily pay $100 to $150 a round for the same quality of course. So again, you're saving money by living in this area if you do enjoy playing golf. And that leads me into number 7 reason to move to Wayne County, and that's traffic. One of the reasons I love living in Wayne County is because you can get almost anywhere in 20 minutes. Other than Berkeley Boulevard between 4 and 6 p.m., which is directly north of the base gate. Plus, there's a lot of commercial zoning in there, so that area does get congested between 4 and 6 o'clock. But in general, most stoplights in Wayne County, but at most you're going to be backed up as 3 to 4 vehicles in general. And then a lot of stoplights, depending on where you're going, there may not be any vehicles at the stoplight that you have to wait. And I grew up, like I said, in the northernmost part of Wayne County. And it was probably 25-minute drive to Goldsboro. And like I said, never had problems getting things that I needed driving back and forth. And then there's been some new highways built, which again has made it even more convenient. So even as traffic has increased a little bit, as our population has grown a little bit, the new highway system has totally kept those driving times within 20 minutes. Like I said, generally if you're in the middle of the county, there's just about nowhere you can't get within 20 to 25 minutes that you need to get to. And then that leads me into number 8, Wayne County. You wouldn't think of Wayne County as being a cultural area, but we do have a lot of culture and arts and festivals. The Wayne Arts Council is very active, especially in the downtown Goldsboro area. They've got art shows, in sales. They have art and music classes, some performing arts. So they're very active, and it's probably in conjunction with the Paramount Theater as well. We have a variety of shows and performers come through Goldsboro. Comedians, they have music, different types of music. And if I'm not mistaken, I think recently they even had like a cosplay event at Paramount Theater. So there is some things like that available in Wayne County. Another part of you would think of as culture, but it is your barbecue grilling culture. It's kind of its own cooking, its own culture in and of itself. We have Wilbur's Barbecue, which is probably at this point world renowned for its vinegar-based barbecue cooked over oak wood, the exact traditional way that it's always been done. Then we have another restaurant, McCall's Barbecue. I think there's another one called Grady's. They all kind of have different styles, and that's what's really neat about our county, is you can try all these different styles and different sauces and experience that culture. There's also, they have a chili cook-off at the fairgrounds. So again, there's competitions. Like I said, the cooking culture, the grilling culture is strong here, if it's something you're into. Now, as far as equestrian and horse culture, I'm not as familiar, but I do believe there are riding groups you can join, and there's also small ranches or places where you can take lessons if you need experience and how to learn how to ride a horse. That is available in Wayne County. If you're into, say, classic cars or custom cars, there's generally always a presence at all the festivals of car clubs. So I know, depending on what type of car you have, there's generally a club you can get involved with. There will be somewhere that is compatible with with what the vehicle that you own. And speaking of the festivals, we have the Fremont Daffodil Festival. The Daffodil Festival began probably when I was probably 7 or 8 years old. It has grown every year since. It's grown into a big event. They have music concerts, lots of vendors, car shows. They have a marathon, like a benefit event. And generally, the Embers, if you're into beach music, the Embers generally come every year. And so that's something, that's a great little festival that I'm very familiar with because I've, gone to it pretty much my entire life. Then you also have the Mount Olive Pickle Festival, which is also a great festival that, if you eat pickles, you probably have seen the Mount Olive Pickle Company, which is based out of Mount Olive. And so that's why they have the Pickle Festival, which again has vendors and car shows and other events there as well. In July 4th in Pikeville, they have a great little event with fireworks. It's very family friendly. They have vendors, just little things for kids to do. It's just a great little event for July 4th celebration. Another thing is Center Street Jam, which is in the city of Goldsboro. It's downtown on Center Street, obviously. And it's a concert series, summer concert series, which is really neat. They have like a walled off, like a beer garden, and with live music, different style music, different bands. And you can, like I said, they have food trucks. You can, again, while you're there, visit all the great little restaurants and shops on downtown Goldsboro. Several breweries that are in downtown Goldsboro. So it's a great little time. I think they're usually on Thursday evenings, starting, I believe, at 7 o'clock. So you can attend that and just really enjoy your Thursday evening in downtown Goldsboro. There's also, they have, I believe, the Pickle Drop in Mount Olive as a New Year's celebration, if I'm not mistaken. So again, just lots of little festivals. And like I said, we do have a great amount of culture here. Like I said, it just depends on, what you're into. And this leads me into number 9, and I'm kind of grouping several activities together: sports, fitness, motorsports, fitness, fishing, and hiking. I'm going to kind of lump together under activities. So, I mean, there's a lot to do in Wayne County activity wise that people, like I said, Wayne County just doesn't give a lot of credit for. Number one, if you're into tennis, there's large, we got a large public tennis facility at Herman Park with lots of courts, hard courts. There's clay, hard courts, and pickleball at Goldsboro Country Club, which is a municipal country club. It's not, you can have access to that. Clay and hard courts at Walnut Creek Country Club, which is the private club. There's a variety of gyms. You've got CrossFit. You've got small membership, more personal service, instructor type gyms. Then you've got your larger gyms like Planet Fitness. You got Gold's Gym, which is where I go. And then there's several small private gyms, across the county. If you're fine with a little small gym, there may be one near where you live. They recently built the Bryan Multi-Sport Complex, which has a bunch of soccer fields, and I believe they have ultimate frisbee there if you're into that. And there may still be a frisbee course in what I call Midtown Goldsboro at one of the parks there. I know that at one time they did have a frisbee course there as well. Baseball, softball, basketball. They've always been huge in this area. There's many leagues. You've got church leagues, and then you've got I believe it's called the C35 Baseball Center, where they have lots of regional tournaments, and they've got an indoor facility, and it's on over 60 acres. So several ball fields. So again, if you're into batting sports, basketball. Just again, this area has always been big into that, especially with the ACC, with Duke, Carolina, NC State being so close by. It's just been always part of the culture here. If you're into motorsports, we do have the Wayne County drag strip. So if you want to see how fast your car can go in a quarter mile, there is a place to do that. If you're into ATVs, dirt bikes, and that sort of thing, we have Bosco Beach, which has just acres and acres and acres of riding trails and ponds, and lots of places to ride, and people come from all over to go to Bosco Beach. There's many wildlife ramps. Again, if you're into fishing or boating, there's several wildlife ramps in Wayne County that you can put in. I know on the Neuse River, there's several, various private ponds as well, where you can get a membership. Again, like I mentioned earlier with Walnut Creek Country Club, with a membership or ownership of a lot in the town of village of Walnut Creek, you can also have access to that lake. For hiking, there's 3 parks that I know of. Number 1 is the well-known Cliffs of the Neuse State Park, which is very well known. A lot of folks go out there to hike. There's a historical park, Old Waynesboro Park, that's closer to Goldsboro. That's great for walking and hiking. And then there's a newer park, Stony Creek Park, which is just off of Ash Street, which also has some hiking trails. And I'm sure I'm leaving some things out that I may have missed. But again, this is just a general overview, and I might do a more in-depth video on certain activities in the future. Number 10 reason to move to Wayne County is the community. Wayne County is still a very friendly and close-knit community. People here, they do still hold the door for you. They wave, smile, and they're courteous and polite. They still have that, typical Southern, mannerisms as a whole. Obviously, there's not everybody's that way, but the bulk of the population here are just really good people. And again, people talk about the lack of a social scene, which like I said, again, I only agree with to a point. Yes, things aren't just obviously out there for you to do, but there's a group for most any interest or affiliation in Wayne County, whether you're military, it's religious, you have a hobby, you enjoy certain entertainment, you're involved in politics, you're involved in gardening, arts, you name it. You can find a group to work yourself into if you and get your own social circle. If you're moving here from out of town and you don't know anyone here, you can find that social circle. There's great community outreach programs, for food, for shelter, for abuse. We have an incredible pregnancy assistance program that helps pregnant mothers. And there's transportation, help with transportation in the community. And then just from a personal experience, I'll talk about the community is, I had a child that had cancer. She did pass away. But the community came together and it was just simply amazing. They raised the funds for her. It was churches, businesses, individuals, food producers. They all donated time, energy, and money to make sure she had the best comfort and care available while she was, getting treatment. And like I said, it was just amazing to see and watch as thousands of people in Wayne County, they seem to come together for my child and family. So there, again, that's just an example of the type of community that this is. It's still that small town. It still get that small town atmosphere, but like I said, having access to a lot more of the larger town conveniences. So those are the 10 reasons to move to Wayne County that I feel are probably the most important. And, now I'll give you, like I said, the secret, that a lot of locals, may not even know. And it's about, you may have read articles about the population decline. It's not really, the population in Goldsboro City has declined. And I looked at the numbers. In 1990, Goldsboro had 44,000 residents. And in 2021, there were 32,000, which was a difference of 12,000. But in 1990, Wayne County had around 104,000 residents. And in 2021, there were 116,000 residents. So again, 12,000. So basically, there was an exact swap of residents from the city into the county. No, we didn't have we've not had this huge population boom yet, which again, that's why I feel like real estate is a great buy here, because it's coming now. I mean, I'm seeing the population growth now that I've never seen before. And I've been practicing here, for 23 years in real estate. So I know it's coming. So like I said, it's a bargain right now. But the reason that this has happened, it's a combination of tax rates and also policies by Seymour Johnson Air Force Base. And if you're military, you may be familiar with one of these reasons. As Seymour Johnson is one of the main economic driving factors for Wayne County. And first off, the taxes, the reason people live in the county is the taxes in the county are nearly half of what they are if you live within the city limits. And, so that's a major driving factor of why people, are leaving the city. But what keeps many people close to Goldsboro, is essential personnel at Seymour Johnson Air Force Base. They have to live within 15 minutes of the base in case they're called in for an emergency. So what that's done is it created this ring around Seymour Johnson Air Force Base and outside of the city limits that's anywhere within 15 minutes of the base. Where basically all the real estate development has gone in the past 20, 30, 40 years, really. The builders have known this for decades. I mean, because they know, obviously, a lot of times your essential personnel are also often some of the highest paid personnel and most likely to buy houses, so that's where they build. Another thing is, many businesses, they have when they're looking to place a business in your city, they want at least 100,000 people population threshold before they will add a new location to an area. And because, the Goldsboro City, they knew people were moving out for their taxes. They know they needed to add a population base so they could get more commercial to come in. They decided they wanted to try to annex some of these areas that were just outside the city limits where everybody lives. And basically there was a statewide legal battle, and this went on, there were other cities as well. And in the end, the state Supreme Court, they sided with the county residents over the cities, essentially. They basically killed the annexation attempts by stating that any city that annexes an area in the county, they must render all city services available at that time of annexation. Meaning they have to immediately add street lights, they have to add sewer lines, more police, etc. And obviously, struggling cities, they didn't have the finances to do this. Well, luckily, many companies, like the Olive Garden restaurant, for example, which like I mentioned earlier, have this 100,000 population minimum before they will put a business in. They finally realized that the city maybe only had 35,000 residents at the time, but there are definitely 100,000 people living within 15 minutes of driving distance to where a location they could move into. And this has led to kind of a mini boom of commercial businesses. As this knowledge has spread, so again, it's not as big a secret as it used to be. But others, such as Chipotle, is another example of another restaurant that moved here. Major restaurant, and other businesses that have moved. And it's, like I said, it's just a little known tidbit that many may not know about. And again, I know this because I've talked with some of the commercial real estate people back when all this was going on. So I learned a lot about that. So if you're thinking about moving to Wayne County, it's important to hire a realtor who has the best local knowledge, so you can purchase a home in an area that meets your wants and needs. And so, just give me a call if you have any questions about the area or anything I discussed in this video. I'll be, glad to help you. And, you're welcome to comment below, but please just try to keep your comments, civil. Obviously, there's downsides to living anywhere in the country for that matter. And although Wayne County is not perfect, Wayne County is a large county. We've got rural and urban areas, which offer different environments, and depending on where you live, your experience is going to be different than others. And if you would like to offer information about your social, church, or any activity group, feel free to list it below in the comments. For those who may be looking to move to Wayne County, and may be interested in a group that you're part of. Again, this is Weldon Williford with eXp Realty, and I specialize in helping people relocate to this area, and I'm ready to help. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you have a great day.